Hi lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup.misfit and welcome to the intro for Pen Those Eyeshadows for the year of 2023. I'm really excited to get back into this project. I started this back in 22. I really enjoyed the way that I worked on it for myself. I just enjoyed the project as a whole. I love watching other people do this project. So I was really excited to start back and do this project again for the new year. So if you did watch my Pen Those Eyeshadows last year in 22, I'm going to keep this structured the exact same way. I feel like for myself, it really worked that way, but my rules and everything are pretty flexible, so I find that that really helped out a lot. Now, with that being said, I am going to keep a couple of the rules, which is no black eyeshadows and no cream beige matte eyeshadows. I don't work on black, or I don't use black eyeshadow. And those cream beige, whatever you want to call them, colored matte shades, I use them to set down my lid. That's how I'm going to continue to use them. I work through them one at a time, so they're not eligible to be rolled into this project. Now, when I was writing out all of my eyeshadows, which I'll explain in a second, but as I was writing them all out, I did take a break in between doing so, and it did take a large span of time to actually do it all. So some of the shades may be included in there that are creams or blacks, and some are not. So if I do happen to roll one of those because I accidentally put it in there, then I will just re-roll. I won't be working on them. Now, with that being said, also no usage goals. I can roll things in and out as I please. So if I'm working on a shade and I'm really not reaching for it and I'm not having a good time with it, I'm just going to roll it out at the next update. I'm not going to force myself to use it so many times because I'm not enjoying it. So why am I going to do that to myself? So I'm just going to obviously try and hit pen and everything, but we'll see how each update goes, how I'm feeling about those shadows. And if I want to roll them out at the time, then I absolutely can. And I'm not going to have a set number of, I'm blanking on the word that they use to call those, but if I want to roll out 12 of them, I can roll out 12 of them. If I want to roll out one or two, I can roll out just one or two. That's what I did last year. I think it was only one that I rolled out, which was You Spicy from Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. So we'll see what happens this year, but it is what it is, and I'm excited to see how this project's going to go. Now, the way that I did this project last year was I worked on 4 shades, and I'm going to continue to work on 4 shades because I found it was easier for myself. I was doing Pan That palette this year, which I'm not doing this year, unfortunately. I am still doing Panning Solitaire, but I have started Project Level Up, which has already been posted. So I wanted to just keep a number that I was okay with working with and wasn't going to feel so overwhelmed. So out of those 4 shades, 3 of them are going to come from palettes and 1 of them is going to be a single. So it's staying the same where the 3 palettes are going to be, or the shades from the palette, are going to be randomized, and my 1 single is also going to be randomized, but it's going to be changed out each and every month. That way I feel like I can rotate through my singles a little bit better, and even though my collection has expanded a bit since last year, I know I'm not going to be able to touch each and every one of them, but at least I can get 12 of them through this project, and I'll be happy with that. I can use the other shadows, single shadows, in other projects if I feel, but that's what we're going to do. Now, because I have started, Project Level Up, I am structuring both of these projects the same way, which is how I structured Pan Those Eyeshadows last year. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I randomized my shades from the alphabet. Now, that being said, that's why I was writing out all of my, my shadows. So this is my list of all of my shades. So I have the list for all of the A's, and every shadow in my collection, or most of anyways, that start with the letter A are in this list, and then we move on to B's all the way throughout the alphabet. The letter S, I have like 95 shadows that start with the letter S in my collection. That just blew my mind. Last year it was a lot as well, but I don't remember it being that much. And the C's are like in the 60s. Like, a lot of brands like to use the same letters to start off all of their shade names. Don't know why, but it is what it is. Some of them I only have 1, which this year the letter Z has 1 shadow. under that category. Last year it had none, and I rolled that letter twice, I believe. So this year, if I roll it, I can actually use it. I believe X is the only letter in the alphabet that does not have a shade under it. So it's been getting a little bit more rounded this year, but I'm really excited to randomize that way. So what I do is I randomize A through Z, and then whatever letter I land on, I go to that list in here, and then let's just say I land on letter A. Letter A has 28 shades under that list, so I'll randomize 1 through 28, count out the list, and whatever shade happens to correspond with that letter is the one that I'm going to work on. Yes, it's a little bit more work, especially when you're writing everything out, but it is going to take a little bit longer to figure out what shade I'm working on, opposed to just randomizing 1 through however many shades are in my collection and then finding that shade. But I like the little twist to it. For me, I made it a lot more fun last year, and I really enjoyed doing it that way, so I'm doing it this way as well. And that's also how I'm doing Project Level Up. So with me doing both of those projects, I don't want any overlap. So I'm going to make sure, since that video is already posted, I already have my palette for level 1. So when I choose my list, or my letter, I should say, and I go to the list, I'm going to make sure that none of the shades that are in the palette for level 1 are in that list. Now, if they are, I'm either just going to randomize 1 through however many shades there are, and if I happen to land on a shade that's in that palette, I will re-roll, or if I can, depending on how long the list of shades are per letter, I will just exclude that shade from being included in the randomization altogether. But if it's a really big list, I'm probably just going to randomize the whole thing. Now, when it comes to Project Level Up, I kind of explained it in there as well, but say I finish off level 1 and I'm moving on to a level 2 palette. Since I'm randomizing level 2, I'm just going to make sure that none of, like, if I roll a palette, none of the shades that I'm working on in this project are in the palette that I roll in. If so, I will re-roll for the new palette, because I don't want any overlap. I don't want any double dipping. For me, these projects are just to get use on as much as I possibly can, and if I'm using the same palette, the same shades more or less as well in a couple different projects, to me, it's just not as fun, it's not as exciting, and it's not as much use as I can get. So with all of that being said, I think that's everything. If I'm forgetting anything, it'll be down in the description box, so go check it out to make sure that I have covered everything. And also the shades that I'm working on are going to be down there as well. And I will have a new playlist, I believe a new playlist, but at least last year's playlist will be in there. I may continue the same one, I may not, I'm not quite sure yet, but there will be 1 or 2 playlists down below, so you can go and check those out, see how I did this last year, and watch the new project, the new series for this year. So what I'm going to do, actually, before I start to randomize my shades, I'm going to show you my singles collection. So I actually threw everything into here, which is normally where I keep them, but I kind of like to spread them out a bit and not just put them in like rows, but I did that for this project. So what seemed like a very full palette of singles is this. So I still have half of the palette, but I don't want to completely fill this up. So I'm randomizing, I believe I counted 58 shades. I'll have to count again, but I will count those. And then I also have a couple of singles that are not in there. So, oh, I think this one broke. If you guys remember this one, this is Helio by Natasha Denona. Now this comes from the retro palette, and I now have the retro palette. I didn't have it last year. So I will roll this, but if I happen to roll in retro into Project Level Up, as long as I'm not working on this shade in this project, then I'll use it in that project, blah, blah, blah. So this is also going to count. Now I did receive this really old NYX eyeshadow. I just swatched it. There is still pigment to it, so I figured I would roll it into here. I would more than likely just try and get a few uses on this, but it's got some really pretty like shimmer in it, so I think it's super pretty, so why not roll it in and try and get some use on it. And then last but not least, I'm not gonna quite open this just yet. This is actually a Gimme Glow eyeshadow that was super crumbly, so I think it's called Princess Pink from Give Me Glow. For some reason, it was just crumbling so much on me. So I was taking the pieces that were falling off and I put them in here and pressed them together in here. Before I opened this to show you guys, because again, it's very crumbly. So I don't quite know what's up with the shadow. I'm only going to include this little part here. I'm not going to include the actual pan. So if I do happen to choose this one, I'm only going to work on this little bit. And then as I work through this, whatever's in the compact, I will just add more, because that shade, until maybe it'll stop being so crumbly, and then I'll just use the pan as the way that it is. But if it continues to crumble and break apart, it's just going to come into this little compact, and I will just keep refilling this as I go. So let me recount all of my singles, and then I'm going to randomize my 3 letters to start off choosing the shades that are coming from the palettes. Then I will randomize 1 through however many singles I have, choose my single, go get the palettes, show you the shades, show you the singles or the single shade for the month, and start from there. So let me count and I'll be back in a second. All right, so in total we have 61 singles, which clearly jumped up from the 24 that I had last year. There's 28 in the palette plus those 3 single shades. Now, if I happen to roll in a shade that has pan in it for my singles, I'm just gonna try and finish it off. Meteorite is the very first shade in that palette. It is almost completely finished because one project that I had it in, it kind of shattered, if you saw that. So unfortunately, I don't have very much left of that shade, but I will try and finish that one off if that's the case. But yeah, so I have finished off a couple of singles again because they broke on me, shattered on me. So I think I had no more than 65 singles, I want to say, and I'm down to 61 in total now. So I want to see how much I can use up this year. I would love to finish up some more singles because honestly, I don't need all of those singles. The idea of putting them into little palettes and stuff like that is what I really enjoy. I really enjoy. I did want to fix that there, and try out some brands. So that's what that was. What I am going to eventually do, so just show you guys right here, these 4 are from Lethal. I bought them. They're individual shadows, but I bought them as a set. But I do want to buy a little compact. I think Lethal sells 4 pan and a 6 pan. So I do want to get one of those for those 4 shades, they'll still be included in here. I don't know when and if I'm even going to do that, but at some point I would like to. And just kind of work on them from there. So let's stop rambling. Let's start randomizing and let's see what my first 4 shades of Panlos eyeshadows are going to be for 2023, because I'm really excited about it. So let me pull up the app that I use to randomize letters. So we're going to reset that. So it's 0 to 26. As you can see there, nothing has changed. This is what I use all of the time. And the first letter is an F, W, and S. F, W, and S. So I'm gonna write those down. I gotta go grab a pen. Okay, who's ready to randomize? Because I'm so excited for this. So what I did was I actually went and I grabbed the palette that is in my Project Level Up project, which if you've seen it, it is the Essence Bronze This Way palette. I took a look at the back and there is one shade in there that starts with the letter S. And I thought about it, I'm like, S is my largest list of shadows. Like I said, there's about 95 or so. So I'm just gonna randomize the 1 through 95 instead of trying to pick through and find where that shade is in the list. Other than that, we are randomizing the letter F, the letter W, and the letter S, and then we will randomize my single for the month. So first, I'm going to pull out my notebook. We're going to find the F category, which has 32 shades. So counting these out might take some time, but we will get there. So I'm just charging my phone a little bit because it's dying on me, but I think 7% is enough for now. We are going to randomize, what did I say? 1 through 32. And if you guys wanted to take a peek and see the letter F, We have 32 shades. These are only some of them. They go on to the next page. So we're going to randomize 1 through 32. And what's our magical number? We have number 2. So let me... Ooh, that's going to be fun. Okay, I'm just going to write them down as I go. I normally don't do this, but I feel like, at least in the beginning, it's probably best for me to. So we're going to work on, I'll show you guys in a little bit once I go and grab everything. Okay, so then the letter W was next. So let's go and find that list. There's actually quite a few W's, more than I thought. We have 18 altogether. So we're going to change this to say, oh, I want to just make sure I don't have any prevent rerolls on there, so that's perfect. We're just going to clear the history because I don't know. And we're going to change this 1 to 18. So that's what it's looking like. And we got number 7, which 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Okay. I'm not sure what that shade is. Okay, and then the letter S. Holy, my long list. Yep, 95. So we're going to 1 through 95. Usually I go through like what the actual shade and palette is, so I will do that before I go and get them. I usually do that as I roll, so I'm not sure why I'm not doing it now. But we have number 84. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to count out to see what number 84 is. I will let you guys know what shades I'm working on from what palettes. I will then go get them. And then I will choose my single shade. So one moment. All right, so for the first 3 shades that we're working on, we are going to be working on For Real from the Too Faced Teddy Bear palette. We will be working on Want a Piece of Me from the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. And then for the letter S, we will be working on Secrets from the Blend Bunny... Nope. What did I say it was? Sunsets? Yeah, Secrets. Oh, it's still the same palette. From the Blend Bunny Blends palette, which is brand new put into my collection and I have not used it yet. So I'm going to go grab those palettes. We're going to randomize my single. We're going to see what shades those are and we're going to go from there. All right, lovelies, I am back. So I have the 3 palettes here. The very first one is the Too Faced Teddy Bear palette. And as I said, we will be working on For Real. So if you're not aware, if you did not watch my bonus pens video, I am working on the cream shade in this palette to set down my lid. So that is that shade right there. This is what the palette is looking like at the moment. I have reached for a few of these shades a couple of times and I do enjoy it. So what shade are we working on? For Real is the second shade in the palette, which is this gold shimmer. So I think have I used that one? I feel like I may have used this shade already, but I'm really excited. Ooh, that's pretty. I do like this palette from what I've used out of it so far, so I'm excited to get a lot more use on this palette, and I'm really hoping I can hit pan. Now, whoa, I almost dropped it. It did take me a little bit longer to hit pan in this cream shade than I thought it was going to, and I feel like the brush that I use is different than the brush that I use for the rest of the shadows that I use in my looks. So it might take a few months. These shadows, or these pans, are kind of deep from what I can tell. So it may be in here for a little bit, but who can go wrong with a gold shimmer? I feel like you can compare that with pretty much anything. So I feel like I'll get a lot of use on that, and I'm just really excited to, again, get a lot more use on this palette as a whole. The next shade was Want a Piece of Me by the Pumpkin Spice palette by Too Faced. This was in here last year, so this look, and it was rolled into the intro as well. So this may be a frequent flyer in this project, but we'll have to see. So Want a Piece of Me. Oh, that's a pretty shade. Want a Piece of Me is this purple shade right here. Again, it's a shimmer, very pretty. Didn't swatch the greatest, but let me build it up a little bit. I think that's going to be pretty fun to work on. So that's what it's looking like so far. I'm excited to see how much use I can get in here. This was You Spicy that I was working on last year. It was a matte, so it was a little bit more difficult. They are pretty hard pressed, so we'll see how working on this shade works, and I feel like I might be able to make some decent looks with this palette using that shade, so I'm pretty excited to actually reach for that one as well. And then last but not least, the shade Secrets that comes from my Blend Bunny Blends palette. Like I said, this is brand new to my collection, so I have not even used it yet, but look how beautiful this is. Now, what is the shade Secrets? It is not the black, so we're good there. Ooh, it's this very light pastel yellow. I think that's gonna be fun. Something to throw in my transition, to use as a transition. And those three shades paired together are really pretty, even though you can barely see that very pale yellow. I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of that one. And I'm really excited to actually dip into this palette and just start to see some progress and hopefully some dips and some pans pretty soon. So I still need to roll for my singles. So like I said, there's 1 through 61. So we're just going to randomize that, and then I'm going to see what shade we get. Number 18. So I know that's coming from this massive palette right here. Whatever shade I choose, I'm going to take out and put it into a separate magnetic palette, which is what I've done before. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 across. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh my goodness. I am so excited for this shade, you guys. This is by Glaminatrix, and this is in Cornflower. She's beautiful. Like, I don't know if you're really going to be able to tell, but honestly, I feel like it's just a combination of the other three, just a lot more shimmery and in your face and intense. Like, this is what it looks like in the pan. I think this is going to be a super fun, perfect color story for January. You got your purples for the winter, but I'm going to have so much fun with this color story. I do want to try and build up that Secrets shade a little bit. See what I can get out of it here. And then we'll just throw another swatch of that. So it's hard to see, but that is my color story, and I'm so excited for it. Like, these three shades are going to be nothing to work together. And then even this one I can pair. Like I said, this is pretty much a combination of almost pretty much all three of these. So I think it's like, look at that. Look at that. That is so pretty. I'm so excited for this, and I'm going to be able to pair it with my Bronze This Way palette because it's a bronze palette. So I feel like working through these shades for the first month, I'm really excited that this is what was in my intro. It's going to give me the inspiration to actually like hit pan and get some use on my palettes and my shades and everything like that, and I'm really, really excited about it. So that is my color story, and that is it. So the Glaminatrix Cornflower shade will only be in for the month of January. In the update in February, I will be rolling it out. I roll them out each and every month. So even if the shades from the palettes don't get rolled out, at least every month there will be a new shade rolled in. So if you're curious to see what the next one's going to be, stay tuned and let me know how you guys feel about this color story, because I'm enjoying it. It is pretty light, but I think that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. I think I'm going to enjoy it, especially for the winter time, because I'm not a big fan of like the deep, dark, smoky looks on my eyes. I feel like it just makes my eyes look a lot smaller than they already are. So I'm happy about this. So I think that is everything. So let me know what you think of this color story, what you think of just the shades alone, what kind of looks would you pair together. Let me know if you're doing this, because I would love to come and watch your project this year. And I think that's everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.